the developments of technology, many different types of weapons and bombs have left traditional methods and warfare behind. Now, as in the past, wars are taking place not only on the front line, but even at the most central points of cities. In particular, directors who do not refrain from committing war crimes commit major war crimes by moving the war to urban centers. But there are also leaders and armies that still haven't lost their humanitarian feelings, just like the armed forces of Ukraine and the president of Ukraine, Volodimir Zelensky. The war between Russia and Ukraine continues undecelated. During the ongoing hot clashes on the front line, the armies of both countries are fighting a big fight. While the struggle of the armed forces of Ukraine is to liberate the occupied territories from occupation, the struggle of the armed forces of Russia is to meet the wishes of the president of the Russian Federation, Vladimir Putin. The righteous struggle of the armed forces of Ukraine has begun to bear fruit. The Russian army has suffered heavy losses in the recent operations. So what are the latest events? Let's take a look together. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel and open notifications so as not to miss the Pioneer's daily map analysis and the agenda reports. The Pioneer Reports. As you will remember, the Ukrainian army has recently received a great deal of support and gained a great advantage over the Russian armed forces. This advantage was the cluster bombs that the United States offered to the Ukrainian army. The Russian Federation was very uncomfortable about cluster bombs, because there was nothing the Russian army could do against the destructive power of these bombs. Although Russia tried to prevent the delivery of these bombs to the Ukrainian army, it failed to do so. The armed forces of Ukraine have dispressed the positions of the Russian forces with cluster bombs. It was reported by local sources that the mentioned cluster bombs were used in Bakhmut. As you know, the city of Bakhmut came under the control of the Russian army after long conflicts. However, since the beginning of the Ukrainian counteroffensive, the Ukrainian army has put the city of Bakhmut under almost complete siege. The Bakhmut front line is the scene of major clashes. Moreover, in the city of Bakhmut, the Ukrainian army used cluster bombs, causing heavy losses to the Russian army. During the attacks of the Ukrainian army against the Russian positions located around Bakhmut, a large number of cluster bombs hit the Russian positions. The reports on the situation come from the Russian local sources. Especially the reports of the Russian bloggers show that the losses of the Russian army are quite large. According to the allegations, a large part of the Russian soldiers deployed in Russian positions lost their lives as a result of the cluster bombs. In addition, according to reports, a large part of the Russian firing positions in the region have lost their firing capability. The losses of the Russian armed forces in and around the city center of Bakhmut were met with a great concern by Russian war writers. According to Russian war writers, the Ukrainian army gained a great advantage over the Russian army with cluster bombs. Russian war writers are calling on the president of the Russian Federation, Vladimir Putin, and the Russian General Staff to take urgent measures in the first place. The Russian army and the Ukrainian army continue to fight on the front line. As you may remember, the Free Russian Legion, consisting of Russian citizens fighting under the Ukrainian army, recently made a statement and shared with the public that the Legion would launch a cross-border operation again. Recently, Chechen troops fighting for the Ukrainian army had carried out an attack on the Belgorod Oblast of Russia. The Free Russian Legion posted statements on its social media account, making statements about the Legion's recent operation. According to the latest reports, the cross-border operation of the Free Russian Legion to the Belgorod Oblast seems to be quite close. The Free Russian Legion has blown up an ammunition depot in Belgorod Oblast of Russia with missiles. According to recent reports, troops of Free Russian Legion have found a hidden ammunition depot belonging to the Russian army located in the direction of Belgorod Oblast. There was not only ammunition in this ammunition depot. At the same time, Russian troops who were responsible for protecting the warehouse were also located in the area. The Free Russian Legion troops identified the area first. The Free Russian Legion troops, who later mobilized, kept the area under artillery fire. According to the statements from the Free Russian Legion, the concealed ammunition depot was completely blown up. In addition, Russian troops who were responsible for protecting the ammunition depot also lost their lives along with the explosion. The Free Russian Legion shared images of the operation on social media. The operation images shared by Legion have been viewed by millions of users. According to many military experts, these operations carried out by the Free Russian Legion are the harbingers of a new cross-border operation against Russia. As you know, the previous operations of the Free Russian Legion had caused a great fear and panic in Russia. Russian citizens living in the region had accused the governments of the Russian Federation of failing to protect themselves. The operation carried out by the Free Russian Legion provided a great advantage for them to continue the offensive against the Ukrainian armed forces. The Legion's operations are distracting the Russian army. Thanks to this, there is a gap in the Russian positions on the front line. Taking advantage of this opportunity, the Ukrainian army is saving important points from occupation on the vast majority of the front line. This is not the only incident that happened within the borders of Russia. As you know, the Kursk region, located on the northern border of Ukraine, had also attracted great attention during the operations of the Free Russian Legion. Because simultaneously with the operations of the Free Russian Legion, the region was shaken by explosions. At the same time, when the Free Russian Legion blown up the Russian ammunition depot, the Kursk region was shaken by explosions. There are many different claims about the explosions. According to some local sources, the explosions occurred due to the sabotage attacks carried out by Russian separatists in some areas of Kursk. According to some local sources, kamikaze unmanned aerial vehicles of the Ukrainian armed forces carried out the attack that caused these explosions. Although there are many claims about the developments in the region, there are no explanation from official sources yet. There is also no data on the casualties suffered as a result of these explosions. However, all local sources agree that this explosion caused panic. While different developments are unfolding on the front line every day, Russia is approaching more difficult days every day. It is a matter of wonder how long the Russian army, which has suffered heavy losses on the front line, will be able to fight these losses for longer. What do you guys think? Do you think cluster bombs will affect the course of the war? What do you think about the use of cluster bombs? When do you think the Free Russian Legion will launch a cross-border operation? Do you think that the Russian troops on the front line will lose strength with this operation? We care about your opinions. Please share them with us.